Hey everyone, I am super excited to share my presentation today. I'm going to be doing mine on Chris Jordan. He's a photographer. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started. So, who is Chris Jordan? As I said, he is a photographer. That is a picture of him. And he describes himself as, or described himself as in a quote in an earlier interview as saying, I'm some kind of digital photographic artist. So he is a photographer, he is an activist, and he also has produced a couple of films for his art and for his causes. So yeah, that's generally a roundabout of who he is. So the start of something big. Chris, he wasn't always an activist. He simply wanted to find beauty in the world. So when he started his photography, it was to find color, it was to find just beauty in the surrounding area. He is from Seattle, Washington, and that is where he did a lot of his photography. And going out there, he found a lot of just waste and everything like that. So the next thing is the beautiful trash got people talking about consumerism. So he found this beautiful pile of trash that he decided to take a picture of, and he blew it up on a huge print and hung it in his living room. And from there, people would come over and talk about consumerism, and it wasn't something that he really had ever thought about, and people were talking about it to him, and he realized that it was an issue that he really cared about. So he solved these problems and he wanted to shed light on them, and that was the beginning of all of his projects, and I think really his boost in popularity now or then. So the issue, consumerism. Annually, the United States produces 254 million tons of trash. Now, this is a statistic, and he uses statistics in all of his artwork. The problem with the statistic is that our brains can't comprehend the number 254 million. This is because our perception is from experience, and usually, we don't see numbers visually bigger than a couple hundred, if that at a time. And often we don't usually see those big numbers often, so it's really hard for our brains to comprehend the mass amounts of waste that we produce because we can't comprehend the number itself. So this is where he comes into play in trying to fix that issue. So the goal is to get people talking about the issues that seemed super overlooked and widely accepted. The powerful statistics that he uses, there are specific numbers that he uses to create each piece of artworks and emphasize its importance. So if you look at the cell phones, it is the amount of cell phones that are used in or discarded almost every day. And the magnitude. By photoshopping and editing these images, he's allowing us to look at these images and see these large numbers as a whole, and really be able to start to imagine how many that actually is, being able to see it put all together. So this is how it's made. So this is an example of one. In the back you see is the full image, and he uses Photoshop to combine every single one of these images. And the picture I just pulled up, these look like little stars from far away, but really they're plastic spoons. And these are hundreds and like thousands of plastic spoons. And on his website, you can actually go and view his artwork on his website. It's chrisjordan.com. And You can see all of his stuff and it just zooms in or zooms out of whichever, and it is made with these intricate details of little things that we throw away every day. So first what he does is he photographs whatever he's depicting, and then he repeats it in variations on Photoshop and overlaps it so it comes together as one big picture. And definitely Chris would not be able to make these without the technology that we have now. So he's really taken advantage of that. The impact. So Chris has spoken to about the reason behind his art in hundreds of settings. I think it was 130 different venues. His art is getting people's attention, and it's getting people's attention, and it's getting people to talk about the issues that people kind of accept every day that we, as a country throw away so much and all that kind of stuff. Chris donates a percentage of his profits from the projects that he creates to use in the issues that he's confronting. So that's really awesome. He stands behind what he does, and he really wants these issues to come to light and to be supported more than anything. And in doing that, of course, make such beautiful things out of this horrific thing that we as America have come to do. Now we're going to watch just a couple minutes of this, and this will give you maybe a better idea if I didn't explain it better. This is him on a TED Talk, so we're just going to watch the first 2 minutes of it real quick.
My work is about the behaviors that we all engage in unconsciously on a collective level. And what I mean by that, it's the behaviors that we're in denial about and the ones that operate below the surface of our daily awareness. And as individuals, we all do these things all the time, every day. It's like when you're mean to your wife because you're mad at somebody else, or when you drink a little too much at a party just out of anxiety, or when you overeat because your feelings are hurt, or whatever. And when we do these kind of things, when 300 million people do unconscious behaviors, then it can add up to a catastrophic consequence that nobody wants and no one intended. And that's what I look at with my photographic work. This is an image I just recently completed that is, when you stand back at a distance, it looks like some kind of neo-Gothic cartoon image of a factory spewing out pollution. And as you get a little bit closer, it starts looking like lots of pipes, like maybe a chemical plant or a refinery or maybe a hellish freeway interchange. And as you get all the way up close, you realize that it's actually made of lots and lots of plastic cups. And in fact, this is 1 million plastic cups, which is the number of plastic cups that are used on airline flights in the United States every 6 hours. We use 4 million cups a day on airline flights, and virtually none of them are reused or recycled. They just don't do that in that industry. Now that number is dwarfed by the number of paper cups we use every day. And that is 40 million cups a day for hot beverages, most of which is coffee. I couldn't fit 40 million cups